Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Tara Smith's Kitchen. I am Tara Smith and today I'm cooking beef and barley, and I'm starting out by browning about 2 pounds of hamburger meat. And that's my phone chiming in here, probably saying I went live. But we're starting out by browning 2.5 pounds of hamburger meat. Then we're going to remove it and we're going to be sauteing some vegetables and adding spices and broth and barley and all that good stuff. And then will be the long part, which is waiting for the barley to cook. So if you've joined in, thank you. And hopefully you enjoy what I'm doing here. So let's wait and see if someone shows up in the chat here. I haven't been live in a while, so I don't know. And I don't know who I'm courting at the moment. At a certain point, I'm not worried about that. Just, I don't think I'm hurting anyone's number. But if you're out there in the chat, please say hello and let me know that you're out there. I would appreciate it greatly. And also let me know if you can hear me. Make sure the audio is coming in pretty good. And a few people checking in, or not checking in, but showing on the thing. So if you just joined, I'm cooking beef and barley. And at the moment, I'm browning two pounds of hamburger meat. We have to brown this and then take it out. And then we'll start with the vegetables and we'll add all this back in later. So let me chop this up. And we're going to be left with drippings in here. Don't worry about that. It's just leave it in there. If you don't have enough drippings or what have you for the vegetables, add a little bit of olive oil or, grapeseed oil. I prefer olive oil, but you can kind of use anything. Eduardo Espinoza says, I thought I was early. Nope. But thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Send a few links out there. So hopefully people know that I'm live. And if you notice up there at the top of the chat, there is a fundraiser that I'm doing. And it's for 2 different things. One is for a stand mixer, which will help me making, bread and kolaches and stuff like that. Things that I have to mix dough for, because I have to do that by hand completely right now. I do not have a stand mixer or any other way to do that. See, Ghost Shadow, you found a KitchenAid mixer for $25. That's the one that I would love to have. Because I can put the noodle maker on it. I can put the meat grinder on it. There's all kinds of things I can do with the KitchenAid. Right now, I have enough in the fundraiser for a real cheap one that'll do like maybe 3 of the basic things, like have a dough hook and like the wicks thing, that sort of thing in it. And I could go from there. Which basically means I've got about $100 in donations. So I can probably pick up a cheap $100 one. I think Drew Barrymore has one at Walmart for around that price. And I've seen a few on the internet that I've been looking at. If I could get enough to get the KitchenAid, I would definitely get the KitchenAid. But things are what they are. And things are a bit tight right now. I had a bad week at work that messed up my pay. It is what it is. Freight comes and goes. But the chemical that we're hauling usually comes out of a place called Russia. And there's issues with that country right now. So we're having to source it from other places. And it slowed down. And that week was actually pretty cool as far as I got to ride my bike to work all week. I was local all week. It was kind of good to be home. But the local runs just don't pay what the over-the-road stuff does. And that's kind of thrown my finances off. I'm also wanting to get a GoPro, and that's more for my other channel. And I can do some stuff for this channel with it because there is some crossover for the things that I'm wanting to do. Like one of the places I'm wanting to go is in spring. And it's called Winchkeys. And I was going to ride my bike up there and do kind of a review of the place and their food. It's got a really interesting history. I could go up to Woody's, that's in Centerville, maybe go to Green Hall, places like that. Woody's would definitely cross over with this channel. They have awesome barbecue and pickled tourist trap items. It's a lot better than Buc-ee's. Of course, I may have a grudge against Buc-ee's just because I drive a truck for a living. And they put all these signs out front that say no trucks. So I guess they're prejudiced against truck drivers. In all honesty, that barbecue sandwich that they have is not very good. There's so many better places you could get a barbecue sandwich. Check this out. Just got to hit up estate sales, but that takes having the time to hit them. Yeah, I've only got like one day off a week, maybe. Sometimes two. This week I went to North Dakota and I just got back last night. So actually I got home. I'm thinking it was close to 1 o'clock this morning. And I'll be leaving in the morning, going back to work. This part is about done. So let me move this lid. The other thing too, I have a tiny kitchen. Basically, I have a tiny little 3-bedroom house that we bought back in like 2001. And I like the place, but I don't have a whole lot of room in the kitchen. So people have all these nice things, stores do, and these air fryers. And for some reason, I get stuff like that for like Christmas gifts from relatives. And the problem is I don't have room for most of them. I don't use that stuff often enough to warrant it. So there's not a whole lot that I actually need. But one of them is a stand mixer. And I nearly broke that lid. Now this, what is it? I don't know. Um, I don't even know what that is. I think it's something hot. I don't know if y'all can see that. That's over on the Twitch side. I'm broadcasting to YouTube and Twitch, and there's a, I guess, whatchamacallit, advertisement thing. Somebody's selling something over there. But right here, I have 2 cloves of garlic. I have 1 large sweet onion that my wife got at Costco. And I have 3 carrots chopped up. And I'm going to add this. We're going to saute this a little bit. Saute it in the drippings. If you don't have enough drippings in there, add some olive oil. I mean, this is pretty lean hamburger meat, but 2 pounds, I should have enough. Cover that up for a minute. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have room for those. I remember this big mixer thing we had at like Pizza Hut in '94. And it had this huge hook and all that stuff, like big restaurant thing. Yeah, I'm not making that big. Corey, welcome to the chat. And how's it going? It's going pretty good. Rode both my bikes today, actually. I rode the Fat Bob to HEB, and we got a few things because I have to cook everything I need for the week on the weekend. So I'm going to be eating this throughout the week. Probably going to make some garlic soup after this, just for some extra food. It's too expensive on the road. I got home, cleaned out some in the garage, and I got my other bike out, riding it around. I haven't been riding it too much because I want to get the bars on it. I'm going to put the Bun King flat bars, the 2-step, high-step bars, where you got 2 flat bars on it, and you end up with 2 different places to put your feet, but it's also, you know, if you accidentally drop it or something, and there's just construction and everything around here. And speaking of that, I didn't know if I was going to cook anything this evening because there's contractors out here for a new cable company that is putting their service in the area. And they've knocked the power out to the houses on the corner for the last 3 days. I get a call from my neighbor day before yesterday. The fire department was banging on my door, and Amy was sound asleep in the back. She didn't hear them. And what had happened is they had hit a gas line in my backyard when they were trying to run their cable. And big major gas leak. I got her woke up and I gave the fire department permission to do whatever they needed to do, but I told them to let me call her and wake her up before they go in the house, just because entering my house at night without permission would not be a good idea. Dennis, stop. Sorry, I have a mastiff over there. Eduardo Espinosa, yes, wife. And she got up. I was trying to follow along with the chat. Anyways, the gas has been on and off because they keep hitting the gas line. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to cook anything. I do not know what's going on with Bjorn. I think some stuff happened on Honda's chat and Honda's Discord. And I haven't checked with Bjorn lately. Accusations, all kinds of stuff that I don't really know anything about or enough to talk about. What is what. But Bjorn is very welcome in my chats if he wants to hop in here. Or, hop on the text chat part. Welcome on the other chats too. But I do not know where he is. Here I go. I gave you the a long time ago. I don't get involved with politics and drama and all that stuff. It's just not my thing. I got too many things going on in my life. Too much drama without adding anything else. Too much stress just from work. I pull a tanker for a living, big smoothbore bulk tanker. And it's like anytime there's a snowstorm or an ice storm or anything, they just point me towards that and say, here, go. So that's kind of where I'm at. I need to get some hot water ready. My cup is cracked, so I'm going to see if this will hold it. Not realize it was cracked. I'll generally use hot water if I'm mixing like bouillon or something. And I'm going to use better than bouillon. Their beef face. If you haven't tried it, obviously I'm not sponsored. I'm not big enough of a channel. But if you haven't tried better than bouillon, it's really good. And I would suggest trying it. Okay, I think that's holding water. I'm not 100% sure. Cat, will you move? One of my cats in the way there. My little helper. Until the dog sees her. This is what I'm using. Roasted beef base, better than bouillon. They have several different products. They have chicken, they got pork, which their pork is like a ham thing. They've got a vegetable base, they've got a garlic base, and it's all good. And let me see. How many cups is this again? Is it leaking? So it's going to need 3 teaspoons. And you're going to want to wash your teaspoon after this. These are a bit heaping. This is 3.5 cups. Apparently, this thing wants to leak over that because it's cracked. And I did not know it was cracked. I don't know if y'all can see that. Has a crack right down the side. Where did the barley go? Here it is. Okay, let's see if I can catch up in the chat here. Yes, 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. You are correct. Yeah, there's a little bit on the stove. It was leaking. I'll have to wipe that up in a second. Okay. It's called Real Time, One Take, and I'll clean the rest up later. I'll put about another 1/2 cup in there. And where'd my measuring spoon go? Maybe if I could stop dropping things, that would help. A little bit more. Stir that in real good. You can also cook the barley separate if you really want to. Some people do that and add it. Now this is cream of mushroom soup. Really need just cream of mushroom, but this will work for what I'm doing. Basically, I grabbed the wrong thing. As long as you have the cream of mushroom, you'll be good. Happy little accidents. Stir that in there really good. Now I have to open this. Sometimes these things open correctly and sometimes they do not. Most of the time, they do not. You're supposed to just be able to push it in with your thumb. It's like whoever does the machine doesn't do their job correctly. So it never works out that way. And I generally have to use a knife. And I need about 3/4 of a cup of barley. Hopefully that's not too loud. That definitely needs a bigger hole. I will eventually get 3/4 of a cup out of here. That's pretty close. Okay, that's about 3/4 of a cup of barley. I am going to have to buy a new measuring cup. And something I kind of forgot here, but it doesn't matter that much at the moment, as long as I get it in there. So if you skip a step or something, usually it's not a huge problem. You can fix it. So this is oregano. I'm going to add a teaspoon of oregano. Probably should have done that before I added the cream of mushroom. But it'll work. And of course, margarine. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of margarine. And yes, I use a lot of marjoram. All marjoram is sweet oregano. And a lot of places in the world, that's what they call it, is sweet oregano. It's in the oregano family. So if you want it more savory, you add more oregano. If you want it more sweet, you add more marjoram. Now, you can use regular thyme or ground. I'm using ground right there. And I'm going to add a half a teaspoon. That's a little more than half a teaspoon. There we go. Now that it's all dirty, I love this spoon. I think I got it at the Container Store, a couple of them. If you ever see them, they are awesome. All the different measurements. It slides back and forth. It's awesome. I wouldn't put it in the dishwasher though. Wash by hand. Oh, here's another. Let me stir this real quick. You do want to stir this occasionally. This is going to take about 40 minutes. So probably around 10 o'clock, 10:10, this will be ready. This is just regular old ground black pepper. If you're just pouring on top into your spoon, it's no big deal. But if you're dipping your spoon in something, you're gonna need different measuring spoons. And this is a teaspoon. The main thing that takes a while with this is cooking the barley. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Kind of a medium heat, just a little below medium. As long as it's boiling, it's good. I want to cover this for a little bit. And then we'll add our meat back into it. Corey and New York Outcast. What am I making? I'm making beef and barley soup. Let me see if I can highlight. Doesn't show the whole thing. Yeah, less crap to wash. I mean, if you're pouring it on top of the spoon, you can just keep using the spoon, measure it, wipe it out if you need to. But if you're like dipping it in something, you don't want to contaminate your other spices and jars and that sort of thing. So I generally will pour on top of the spoon and dump it in less dishes. Nobody wants to do more dishes. You could really add the meat back in, like now, if you really wanted to. I'm just waiting a minute. And the barley that I'm using. is Quaker medium barley. And most grocery stores, you're going to find that on the same aisle where you have your beans and your lentils and that sort of thing. It's usually the same aisle where your rice and all that stuff is too. And since I know a lot of y'all are preppers, it's a good thing to have, not just have rice and, dehydrated food. Have some stuff like that around and cycle through it where you've always got some there just because you want some variety in your diet. And like where I live at, we're kind of hurricane prone, and we were without power for 5 weeks after Hurricane Ike. I did aid for Katrina for several months, and you get stuck in a position like that. It's realistically, when you'll have to use things like that, it's going to be like natural disaster, that sort of thing. God forbid any other reason. Like seriously, God forbid it. But if you're forced to use those supplies, you want to have some kind of variation in your diet. You get sick of eating the same thing, and if you've ever ate all that dehydrated food for like a week, you get sick of it. It's all right for a little while, but you want some fresh stuff. And if you're going to eat MREs for weeks at a time, God help you. And anyone who has eaten them for any length of time knows why. Anyways, I'm using the new camera that I got a couple of months ago, and I think the volume is going through that. The sound is going through it as well. So if you want to let me know how it sounds, that would be awesome. New York Outcast says he's got to run. Well, thank you for joining the chat. I appreciate it. You are always welcome. Honestly, anybody's welcome in the chat. Long as they're not starting crap or anything like that. That goes on in the other ones. It's open to everyone. I mean, I'm cooking. Everyone needs to know how to cook. Stir this a little more. I mean, yes, it is a non-stick, but you still don't want things burning on the bottom. It's going to have a little bit different color to it because I use the soup instead of the just cream of mushroom. We'll see how it turns out. Shouldn't be bad. Oh yeah. Ghost shadow here. Let me click on that. Haven't cooked a pork roast in a while. Haven't even made pork stew in a while. I might do that in the next couple of weeks when I have time. I was riding my lowrider this evening. That was awesome. Trying to fit time for everything into one day off kind of sucks. But I got to pay for everything somehow. And I do have a Patreon, by the way, and It's linked to my Discord. I think most of you, if not all of you, are probably already on my Discord. But it has roles, what have you, and for each section, and it's all like cooking based, like kitchen based, like sous chef, head chef, what is it? I can't remember all of them. I'm getting tired. I swear I'm not drinking. Ooh, that sounds good. Leftover pork, cubed up, mixed with roasted garlic, cream of mushroom, and put over pasta. That sounds really good. One of the reasons I cook a lot of soups and stuff like that is that this is what I eat throughout the week. And, I make a big pot of something, and then I've got food for the week. And I can heat it up in a microwave, that sort of thing. Life on the road. See if I can put a Patreon link in there. I turned everything down on my phone, so hopefully it doesn't squeal. Let's go to Patreon. It's in here somewhere. Now, my Patreon has stuff from both channels in it, too. So, here, profile. And I do have an interview scheduled at the end of the month, like the last Sunday of this month, for that other channel, with Amanda Zito. Her channel is As the Magpie Flies. She's got adventure bikes and she's got some cruisers, but she's mainly using adventure bikes, and she goes camping and on trails through the woods and that sort of thing. If you haven't checked out her channel, check it out. It's really good. It's one of them that I listen to when I'm driving down the road. Good night, Corey. Thank you for joining the chat. But all her trials and tribulations, being in the middle of nowhere, setting up a tent, cooking, what to carry. And it's a pretty good channel. And I'll be interviewing her on my other channel, Chasing Ghosts. I believe it's the 26th or the 28th. It's a Sunday. And that's probably what this link is going to be too, because I announced it on my Discord. That sounds grueling. But Ghost Shadow would probably understand what I go through more than anyone else. I mean, 2 days ago it was 9 degrees, blowing snow, visibility was about 15 feet, and today was like 90 degrees. But you carry a lot of the stuff. I go to very remote places and through a lot of remote places, and it would be very wise for anyone to carry with them, at least at a minimum, emergency supplies. Because I've been broke down everywhere. In the middle of the desert, in the snow up north, 27 below zero, 90-mile-an-hour wind gust, and you got to be prepared. Always have things like water and a first aid kit, and extra food that you could eat, anything like that when you're traveling. Because you could end up, stuck in a rest area or broke down on the side of the road. And who knows when you're going to get help or plowed out, I've actually been plowed into a chain up area before because the plows came through and just plowed everything up while I'm throwing chains. That was not fun. Yeah, it's that time of year. I've been in full-on slides before going down a mountain. And I don't know, you just kind of do what you have to do. You don't freak out, you get stopped. Then you get out of the truck and it's like your legs won't hold you up. But anyways, that's a link I put in there to my Patreon. And all patrons are greatly appreciated. I don't have that many, and they are greatly appreciated. Funds go to things I need for my channels. What it mostly goes to is like food and that sort of thing that I'm cooking. Oh, that sucks. I've been there. Then sometimes when you go through places a lot, you kind of know where to chain up, and it's usually not the chain up area. Like if you're coming from Seattle and you're going over Snoqualmie, there's a pull out before you get to the chain up area. Chain up there. Don't go to that chain up area. There's not enough room. I saw a guy get run over by a U-Haul one time there, and that was not good. He got his legs run over. Yeah, I need chains. I'm used to having chains. At a bare minimum, I usually have 2 sets of 3-railers and a set of drag chains. And, that covers 4 tires on the tractor and 2 opposing tires on the trailer. And that'll get you covered. And 3-railers are heavy, but to me, they're easier to throw and quicker. I was going across Colorado one time, before Monarch Pass, and I'm in this chain up area, and I wasn't in my truck because my truck was parked getting repaired. And I'm in this truck for a broker, and she had her chains in the side box, and there was only maxi cams on one axle. And that chain up area is kind of an angle. So I get out and I start dragging chains out. And all of a sudden I notice the truck's walking with me. So I get in the truck, I get the truck stopped because it's sliding downhill. And I had to sit there with my foot on the brake until another driver came through there. And I got him on the radio. I'm like, hey, you see that set of chains that's on the ground? Could you please pick that up and like ball it under one of my tires so I can get the truck chalked and I could throw chains on this thing? That was a scary moment. You never want to see your truck sliding, especially if you're not in it. Another thing that's kind of cool to have, cheater chains. Just don't put them anywhere near a valve step. And that's for like, getting out of docks and fuel islands and stuff like that. And it's just a link of chain that you run through the tire. You run it through the hole and you link it together and it just comes around and doof, 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 and pulls you out of where you're at. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the meat back to it. This isn't going to be very soupy. It's going to be kind of thick, which is what I'm going for. Try to break up the hamburger meat there. I haven't been live in a while. I need the watch hours. And while I'm on here, who am I corking? I'm corking Guns and Barbecue and probably E Honda. I don't think I'm hurting their shows. They have way more viewers than I do. Although it is slowly growing, I can't complain. I'm like halfway to monetization. I need, about 550 more subscribers. So if y'all would share my video out on your community tab, that would be awesome. But it seems like the only way you can really get out there anymore is through YouTube Shorts. Like the people that's outside of your bubble. Because we all get this little bubble that we're in, the same group of internet friends. And it's like one of those Venn diagrams where you kind of get into another, you kind of get into another. And at a certain point, you sort of reach all of them. And
hey, let me hear friend.
It's hard to get out. Get your channel out there for other people to see. See if I can get a link here to my other channel if y'all are interested. Okay. And that is a link to my other channel. Chasing Ghosts, that's my motorcycle channel. And that was my wife a minute ago, if y'all could hear her. And she was telling me to look at the dog, Dennis. He's curled up asleep in the floor, just waiting on me. Oh yeah, the sand thrower thing. That used to be a thing on trucks. Some of the older ones still have them on there. I can't remember what they call that, but it was a little box that went in front of your tire. And it would sand the road for you in an emergency to give you some traction. It didn't carry a whole lot of sand, but it was just enough. I know exactly what you're talking about. I kind of wanted one. That and there's automatic chains too. That they're awesome, but you can't go as fast with them. You can go faster with the ones that don't have as many links. And then I've heard people having a lot of problems with them, but I like the theory of them. And it seems like putting them on older trucks is usually where people would have the most problems. Like on a 97 Peterbilt, something like that. Okay, bear with me for a moment. She's got to get something out of the oven. She had to take sweet potatoes out of the oven. No, I've thought about automatic chains, stuff like that before. Because it's like most of the times that I've wanted to chain up, I've been in situations where there was no way you were able to stop the truck and throw chains on it. You're just like in a nightmare situation. You're trying to ride the crown in the middle of the road. There's no place to put the truck. And if you stop in the middle of the road, it's like, I don't want someone to hit me. Yeah, Ghost Shadow. There's also another problem with the new trucks where they have all the traction control and everything on them, where they don't work very good together. And I've known people to have to get towed because the traction control wouldn't let the truck move. So that is a problem. Old timers had a lot of things right. They mixed their fuel 50-50 with kerosene That seemed to solve the problem with gelling up. If you ever taken Howls out of your side box when it's 20 below, it's like milk white and frozen. Diesel's kerosene anyways. It's kerosene and number 2 fuel oil. You're just increasing the kerosene content, and your truck runs way better on blended fuel, especially when it's that cold. When it gets cold enough that it's not that your truck looks like a train when it takes off, but that it continues to look like a train when you're driving down the road. There's this spot between like, what is a 10 below and 20 below, somewhere in there, where you take off and your truck just looks like a train. And then it stops when you go down the road. But at a certain point, it doesn't stop. It's just like a train continuously. It's like this vapor exhaust, big clouds coming out of your stacks. And when it does that, you know it's really, really cold. See if I can do this. She moved the pot that I have to put my stuff on here. That I was going to put the lid on, so I got to hold the lid. I don't want anything to stick to the bottom. And this is going to be really thick and really hearty. Something to stick to your ribs. And considering where I leave for tomorrow, which I go right back to Williston, North Dakota, I want something in there that's going to stick to my ribs. Yeah, when it gets that cold, if I can find a number 1 pump, I'm using number 1, not number 2. Sorry about that. I do have a cat in the kitchen. And cats seem to think it's their job to knock anything they can off the counter. But yeah, when it's that cold, number 1, your truck will run far, far better. Which that's basically what number 1 is. It's higher kerosene content. And that's essentially what you're doing when you're running blended fuel, is you're making your own number 1. I've made my own fuel before. Oh yeah, real fun. You'll know what I'm talking about. Well, the scale in Evanston, Wyoming is much higher than where the Flying J is. And it's a Flying J. It's usually like 10 degrees colder. And it was well below 0. And this is like a decade ago when all these companies were like, shut your truck off, shut your truck off. And Warner and Swift and all of them were making their drivers shut their trucks off. And it's like 20 below 0. And I hear this guy trying to start his truck and it won't start up. And he knocks on my door and asks if I have jumper cables. I'm like, yeah, I've got jumper cables, but how long has your truck been shut off for? I mean, you really want that hot fuel returning to your tanks and keeping everything blended up. Number 2, diesel gels at 5 below 0. And there's a lot of water in the fuel too, which is a whole nother issue. You get algae in your fuel. But anyways, it's 20 below 0, and this guy had his truck shut off for like 10 hours. And I'm like, yeah, I've got jumper cables, but that's not going to help you. you need to get a mechanic to come out here. Your fuel's gelled up. And yeah, I felt sorry for him, but just nothing I could do. And, some bean counter at his company was telling him that he had to shut his truck off. And when it's that cold, you do not shut a diesel engine off. You just do not do it. I mean, if you got block heaters and stuff, that's a different story. But at a certain point, even then, don't shut it off. Unless you can pull it into a garage or something and then plug it in. The cold is a totally different animal. And our food here is just about done. So let me check this. Hold on. What's real fun is when you're getting it started back up and it sounds like it's going to die. And it sounds like it's going to die for quite a while and you just got to leave it running. Or when it's so cold that you're filling your truck up with diesel and you're pouring heat into the fuel nozzle. Where was I? Harvey, North Dakota, that little truck stop there on 52. It's not even a truck stop. It's a fuel stop for the farmers, that sort of thing. And I was trying to put diesel in the truck and the fuel pumps were frozen. So we're out there and we're pouring heat down the nozzles of the fuel pump so that I could get fuel out the same pump. And this fuel, it was so cold, it was literally gelling in the hose. And I'm trying to put that fuel in my tanks. That was not a good situation. Yes, I know you're a cat. You're going to do what cats do. Well, I might want to try it first. So hold on. Oh, there is one thing I kind of forgot. It's not too late for it. I haven't been using as much salt. You know? Find a place to put that. I taste it first though. Doesn't really need it though. I think that can of cream of mushroom had enough salt in it. But always taste for salt. And salt is extremely subjective. So I may think it has enough salt and you may not. So that is what it is. So like the shadow saying. This needs to cook just a little bit longer. Having issues with a cat. Normal cat issues. Pot looks good. Thank you. Needs to cook just a little bit longer. Now, if other people are eating your food, have a different spoon for tasting, what have you. If you taste it again, use another spoon. If it's just for you, it doesn't really matter. And this is just for me. Yes, right now the counter needs to be clean and she needs to push everything off so that she has her space. I've got to be up in 6 hours. That's life. Are there working adults that get more than 5 hours of sleep a night? I'm sure they have to be out there. That was weird, running local for a week and working like 8 hours a day. It was like a vacation. I'm used to splitting my hours and turning 14 into 18. Doing what I have to do to get the job done. 70 hours is just what gets logged. There's so much more that goes into the job. It's like you only work like 40 hours in a week, and it's like, what do you do with the rest of your time? Oh yeah, bad back. Yeah. I don't want to jinx that. I've had enough issues. Degenerative disc, L5, S1, sciatica. It's like sometimes sciatica, it's not that bad. You just kind of power through it and you do what you need to do. And the one time I got it was so bad, I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I couldn't get out of bed. And I'm having to work. And I had to rig the bunk up in my truck with ropes and stuff, and so that I could pull myself out of bed, because I'd spent 3 hours trying to get up out of bed. I couldn't do it. And then eventually I trained my dog, and that seemed to be the best way to do it. And I'll leave his harness on him, and when my back does that, it doesn't hurt any less. It's just quicker. And I'll hold on to his harness, and I'll tell him to pull, and he'll pull me up. And then I'm sitting there for a minute holding on to him, trying to get used to the pain so I can try to stand up. But it's like you can't move anything from the waist down. You can move it, but it's just so much pain. Completely resets your pain levels. And between that and the motorcycle wreck I had a year ago, I don't think anyone knows what a level 10 pain level is. They ask you, what's your pain level 1 to 10? It's like, I have no idea. I thought I knew what a 10 was, but I've exceeded that so far that I don't even think I have any idea what a 10 pain level is. I mean, this is excruciating. Maybe it's a 3. I don't know. Oh my God. I wish you'd let go, Shadow. Mine's from driving a truck for 25 years and oh, many other things that have happened from motorcycle wreck to getting impaled on a tree and um, many other things. I'll leave it at that. I have a lot of injuries, a lot of scars, records of my own stupidity. My grandfather had sciatica, and my mom's had it, so I think there's some kind of genetic thing to it as well. And my grandfather was in a wheelchair. They fused the couple of the discs in his lower back, and he was in a wheelchair for a while, and he was just determined to get out of it. He'd be out in a wheelchair in the front yard mowing his grass with a weed eater. He's still going to do that. And the way he put it was he got tired of looking at assholes, and he pretty much willed himself to walk again. I realize that's not an option for everyone. It's not like everyone can do that. But he managed to do it. Okay, that's done. So how do I want to do this? And yes, that steam is hot. Always be careful taking the lid off. You can get burned. Oh. Be careful, it will stick. A little's not actually too bad, especially when it's like the meat, you get a little bit of crunchy. But here it is all plated up. There you go. Beef and barley. And that is my supper. I'll put this beside it there. I need someplace to put it. Really late supper. Yeah, I was doing a lot of stuff today. £170. Yeah, I've done some weird stuff. Hanging off a cliff with, about 170 pounds. I'm in a harness. I'm walking on rods. And carrying something that weighed about 110 pounds. 120. That was fun at the time. I was young. And the soup is good. We got it turned off over here. Like I said, it's kind of thick. You can add a little water to it if you need to, heating it up, what have you. But it's a good, hearty meal, something to stick to your ribs, especially in the cold. And I'm going to be heading up in the cold tomorrow. I pick up my load at 2 o'clock in the evening, but that means I've got to leave my house about 6 o'clock in the morning. So I need to be up about 4 o'clock in the morning. I've washed my clothes, but I got to dry them. So when I finish this, I'm probably going to put the clothes in the dryer and package this up. I may do some garlic soup to go with me. I'm thinking about making like chicken noodle or something next week. I don't know. It'd be awesome if I could get enough money for like one of those KitchenAid stand mixers, and I could put the noodle maker and everything. I need to do chicken noodle soup where I make my own noodles. I can do it without a mixer. It's just mixer makes things easier, and I have very limited time. So I hope you enjoyed this. I haven't went live in a while and cooked anything. Like I said, this is the new camera. Hopefully the audio is coming through good. I appreciate everyone who watched this. I did post links out there to my Patreon if you are not already a patron, and to the what do you call that? Fundraiser I've got on PayPal for a stand mixer and a GoPro. It's one thing for each channel that I need. And I guess that's pretty much it. And of course I have an interview, more like a conversation than an interview, coming up the last Sunday of the month, I believe, with As the Magpie Flies. And if you have not checked out her channel, just look it up, As the Magpie Flies. She has an awesome channel. It's not she does some cooking in there, but it's, you know, campfire cooking kind of thing, camp stove. She comes up with some pretty good stuff. But her channel's more, you know, going through the trails and all that stuff, back roads, on a big adventure bike. And it's a really awesome channel. So check her out if you haven't. And I'm going to eat my supper, finish getting everything ready to be gone for another 6 days. And probably come back, ride my bikes again, cook something else, and go right back out. But that's life. At least I'm employed. So I guess I don't have much to complain about. But thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later. And I will find the end broadcast button. Here we go. One day I'll figure out how to do this correctly. Just today's not the day. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.